So just after the emergence of Bola Tinubu as president-elect of Nigeria, Labour parties Peter Obi and People's Democratic Party's Atiku Abubakar have challenged the outcome of the election results. They made allegations that the results were flawed and there were manipulations with the BVAS machines. While the court has granted both parties access to inspect the sensitive materials used for the election, the All Progressives Congress has also asked for access to inspect the materials too. Well, joining us from our Abuja studio is the former Commissioner for Information, Edo State, and a political analyst, Kasim Afegua. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to appear once again.
Right, let's begin with your reaction to INEC's postponement of the election, citing that the reconfiguration of the BVAS, the court ruling given was too short a time to when we should have the governorship election Saturday, saying that the court ruling to go ahead with the reconfiguration came late.
Yeah, you don't have to blame INEC. Blame Peter Obi and Elijah Atiku Abubakar for the postponement, because they are running from pillar to post, chasing shadows. The same people who condemned the 2023 election presidential outcome are the same persons who are going to congratulate members of their party who won senatorial seats and who won House of Rep seats in the same election that they frowned against. Don't forget that even the IRF senatorial elections outcome was not posted on IRF, neither was the House of Rep. So if you, on the one hand, you condemn the outcome of the presidential election on the basis that results were not posted on the BVAS IRF. On the other hand, you are celebrating members of your party who won senatorial election and have been given certificate of return. So that's hypocrisy for me. And that is exactly the bane of Nigerian politics. People don't want to just live and let live. And they don't want to also allow allow the spirit of sportsmanship, to prevail on their sense of political reckoning. And so for me, their activity, going to court and all of that, caused this particular postponement till next week, March 18. So don't blame INEC. INEC needed to reconfigure the BVAS.
But they have a right to do so. Can you hear me?
They have a right to do so. It is not. Yes, I can hear you. It is not at all times that you preach right. You have a hypocritical right. That right is hypocritical. It's a contradiction of the whole essence of why you are going to court. You condemn this election as not meeting the threshold based on your own assessment as a candidate of Labour Party and candidate of the PDP. On the other hand, you are celebrating the outcome in the Senate and the House of Reps of members of your party who won at the election. The same election where presidential, the same day, the same hour, and results were not posted on IRF. You believe that one, but you don't believe that of presidency. I think it's just a contradiction. It's just unfortunate that they are reasoning this way. I think instead of wasting their time and their supporters, keeping them in suspense, they should just congratulate Bola Tinubu and let's move forward. Nigeria is deeper than the individual interests of these persons. Nigeria is bigger. We're looking at the bigger picture, how to move the country forward, how to begin to interrogate issues that to bring positive development to the country, not going to court. You want to inspect this, you want to inspect that. You don't believe in the outcome of the presidential election, but you believe in the outcome of the Senate and House of Reps. Who does that?
All right. Some of the issues they had raised was the uploading of results on the INEC viewing portal, the IREV, which they said INEC had promised but couldn't keep to it. And because of that and a few other issues, they said that the election was highly flawed. What is your reaction to that, though? Because INEC actually had said they were going to ensure that they upload the results to the portal at the time.
So what happened? Did they upload the outcome of the Senate election for which they are celebrating their winners? Did they upload the result on INEC, IRF, and this thing when they were celebrating their House of Rep members? I'm telling you that this is just pure hypocrisy, and hypocrisy cannot flourish in an atmosphere where you ought to display a huge sense of sportsmanship and just believe that this is not your time, or it is not your time to be president of the country and all of that. How would a Peter Obi, for example, expect that he will be a winner in this election when he doesn't have a deeper penetration in the northern part of the country? I'm still yet to reconcile that. Or an Atiku Abubakar who went against the zoning of his party, thinking that he can use the northern votes to win the election. I think the issue for me is not about uploading or no uploading. The issue for me is that any party that has agents to monitor elections at the polling units, from polling unit to the ward level to the local government to the state level, will not be complaining about issue of INEC not uploading or uploading, because your agents will naturally give you outcome of results at the polling unit, at the ward level, at the local government level, and the state level. So there are so many issues to look at in this election. We were going to also interrogate the outcome of the elections from the southeastern part of the country. How possible is it that all candidates of the other party will be scoring 0-0-0, and only the candidate of the Labour Party will be recording scores at the polling unit level? We're going to be asking questions. We're going to be carrying out forensic examination. At the end of the day, you might end up having to be scoring lesser votes that he contemplated or that he imagined. That's just the truth, because we saw videos of women who have been aided to thumbprint without using BVAS to capture their images. And so for me, rather than cry wolf where there is none, I think Obi should be a sportsman. This is his first adventure into presidency, and he's made this kind of intervention, he has made this kind of outcome. He should swallow that and prepare for another day. Elijah Atiku Abubakar, for me, serves him right. I've told them before that if you are running against the run of play, you can't push through your aspiration, because this country is a plural society where it is a north-south divide. And so when you have an Atiku Abubakar who wanted to succeed Buhari, a fellow northerner, in a country as plural as Nigeria, then he's not only going to promote divisive politics, but he's going to deepen politics of entitlement. And so I like the fact that he's going on the street to campaign, to protest. Please tell him to roll out his children to join the protest. They should go on the street and be protesting and stop using other people's children and exposing them to undue danger.
Right. Still back on this matter of postponement, there are those who say that INEC should have envisaged that challenges might come, litigations might come, and so should have given room of about perhaps 2-3 weeks before the governorship election.
Well, the challenges might come, that is understandable, but nobody envisaged that they will be asking for BVAS inspection barely a week after the election. So for me, this is the most transparent, credible, free and fair elections I have witnessed in my over 50 years of existence. And I say this with all due sense of responsibility, because I haven't seen an election where sitting governors are losing senatorial seats. I haven't seen where an Okada rider will win a senatorial seat, House of Rep, federal lawmaker, or some persons who never wanted to contest, but they just put their name and they emerge as senators. So how much do you want the election to be transparent? So if it is not me, then it should be. It doesn't make sense. But if it is me, the election is transparent. two of them are laying claim to the victory. So we should give to Atiku. Oh, that is when they will know that the election was transparent. Or we should give to Peter Obi. Oh, the election will be transparent. Is that what they are expecting? I think they will wait till their kingdom come before they will realize that they actually failed woefully at that election. But they've made some impact. Obi has made some impact. I am very happy at the turnout of event for the PDP, because you cannot ignore your own zoning formula and you deny the participation of G5 governors called the G5, and you are thinking that you can win an election under such an atmosphere. He's not a student of history. He should have known that in 2015, when NPDP, that's the new PDP, about 6 governors exited from PDP to join the APC. That was the beginning of the downfall of President Goodluck Jonathan. So this time you have 5 governors not supporting you, and you think that you can railroad yourself because you are believing that you are the candidate of the North. No. The northern governors of the APC, who to me are the heroes of this democracy, need to be commended. They supported Atiku Tinubu very strongly. Even 1 or 2 of them who didn't support, who were playing double game, they got beaten to their own game. So for me, I think INEC should be allowed to conclude its job of presiding over election of the governorship and House of Assembly. Then when they are done, they can open the floodgate of tribunal and begin to interrogate what they call flaws, what they call infractions, what they call irregularities and all of that. There is no perfect election anywhere in the world. And what the law advocates is substantial compliance to the provisions of the relevant laws. In this case, the Electoral Act and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And what is substantial compliance? Just 51% is the majority. If once you fulfill 51% of the requirement of the law, you are already at the threshold of substantial compliance. And in this case, aside from the IREF, which everybody is saying, nobody is saying that INEC didn't conduct a credible election at the local government, at the local level, at the polling unit level. They are only saying that the results were not posted. And we have seen scenarios in the Southeast where a lot of result sheets were manipulated, tippers, and they score people 0, 0, 0, 0, only scoring certain figures. So we are going to interrogate all of that. Obi should not, overindulge himself in this whole process. If he thinks that he will be president of this country, not at this time. God may have told him he will be president, not at this time. And again, I also want to, appeal to him not to deepen the schism of political divisiveness. By the way and manner he carried out his campaign, if Obi had been president, God forbid, at this time, it will have been like dividing the country along ethnic line and religious line. Because Obi was the candidate of the Christians and of the Igbo ethnic stock. He even had coordinators who are Igbos in some part of the north. That means he never believed in the capacity of a northerner to even campaign for him. So all these kind of persons coming at this time of national division, lack of national cohesion, when there are no national conversations, when the country needs to rally around together around persons to make for unity of purpose. I think it was good that Asiwaju, who was the Nigerian candidate, pan-Nigerian candidate, it was good that he won the election. And I'm so happy about that.
All right. Talking about Asiwaju Tinubu at this point, what should Nigerians expect from the presidency of Tinubu? Recall that in 2015, when President Buhari was coming in, Nigerians had very high hopes and high expectations. And he talked about delivering on 3 key areas: on the fight against corruption, insecurity, and also putting the economy together. But now there's another renewed hope, as Tinubu captioned his manifesto. What should Nigerians really expect, and what could likely change?
Well, first of all, you can't, Tinubu cannot be put in the same bracket as a President Buhari. The two of them have different idiosyncrasies. They have different approach to governance, they have different mentality. And so that mentality, the mentality of Tinubu is driven by constructive engagement, collective bargaining, dialogue, reaching out to people, speaking out, and all that. Buhari was more or less like a monologue. He talks to himself. He hardly talks until maybe when push comes to shove. So for me, from the standpoint of this, you saw that even during the campaign, when the issue of Naira swap came on stream, Tinubu was not detained by the fact that he's a member of the APC. He criticized the policy and said that no, it was wrong for you to subject Nigerians to poverty and this kind of hardship when they were supposed to be celebrating a government policy that was meant to checkmate so many infractions in terms of our finances. But again, those who were, asking questions and raising questions to answers and answers to questions wanted a situation where there will be public anger so that Tinubu will lose the election. But as God will have it, he came out victorious. That's one. Tinubu is not just a Nigerian democratic activist. He's one who fought for the current democracy we are enjoying. That means he believes in the principles and ethics of democracy. He believes in the capacity to interact with people, converse with people, dialogue with them with a view to solving a lot of problems. I tell you, if President Buhari had been conversational, if he had exploited the resource of dialogue, what you are having in the Southeast IPOB will have been addressed once and for all. It doesn't take so much. All you need to do is to reach out to the leadership of IPOB and sit down on a round table. You are a government. You have more information than anybody. Then they table their issues in a mediation form, and we table our issues and we reconcile, we get to the middle of the road. Rather than allowing people to be killing themselves, unknown gunmen, unknown this, unknown that. So Tinubu is going to first and foremost help to unite the country by promoting peace and stability of the system so that his policies and programs captured in his manifesto will have the robust environment for implementation. He has so many ideas in his manifesto, but he can only achieve all of those ideas if there is a stable polity. You have insecurity. What do we do about insecurity? You need to interact with people. You need to call out these people. You need to do national orientation. You need to speak. People want to hear their president talk to them. But in this present circumstance, President Buhari was hardly talking. And his spokesmen were even compounding the issues. They were not talking. Each time they want to talk, they insult Nigerians. So a Tinubu presidency for me will be one that will robustly engage issues, one that will reach out to Nigerians. You see him already, he's reaching out to a lot of people, visiting them in their homes and all that. He's not even waiting for people to visit him at home. He's going around to meet people because he believes that once he has their buy-in, then the other issue will just be a matter of time. So Tinubu has enormous responsibility on his hands. That one is not in doubt. He has enormous responsibility because so many things have been left unfixed and undone. But because he's a team player, being a team player, he knows the kind of lieutenants he will want to recruit to drive the narrative of his government. And I'm expecting that he's not just going to recruit vibrant young men, he's going to be able to make sure that the older ones should be at the background where they play advisory role, while the younger ones should be allowed the opportunity, to drive the wheel of progress. So I'm hopeful that Bola Tinubu come May 29, 2023, will come out smoking. Smoking in the sense that he's not going to wait for 6 months before he appoints his cabinet. No, Tinubu will not do that. You'll be shocked that even by now he must have had at least 60-70% of those he wants to put in position of responsibility. Because he knows that once it's inaugurated on 29th May, the work takes off. And there is no slowing down at all. So I want to believe that Nigeria is in for good times. Good times in someone who understands the issues. Good times in someone who understands the intricate logic of the Nigerian Federation. Good time is someone who knows how to weave together the centripetal and the centrifugal forces. Good time is someone who knows how to reach out to people to drive the narrative of government. And so I'm not afraid at all. I'm happy, I'm elated, and I know that as from May 29, 2023 is going to be a smooth ride.
All right, Mr. Fikwa, we need to quickly put you on hold so we can cross over to Jigawa, where our correspondent Jokia Desai is standing by to bring us up to speed with regards to reactions with regards to the extension of the date for the governorship and state houses of assembly election. Jokia, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Morning.
Right. What's the reaction? I know that a majority of Nigerians were prepared ahead of the elections for Saturday, but now INEC has postponed it to the 18th. What's the reaction you're getting?
Yes, right now we are at Antifa in the heart of the Jigawa state capital in Duse. We've gone around, we've spoken with some people, and their reaction is that they are shocked, as many of us are. We arrived there yesterday ahead of that election. We have also seen some of our colleagues from the media space also arrived yesterday. We also saw some security agencies arrive yesterday for this election. Unfortunately, or rather sad enough, the news broke very late in the night yesterday. And so for the people here, it's a bag of mixed reactions. They were prepared, they were ready. Most of them said they had their PVCs ready to decide who will be their leaders in a matter of 4 years at the state level. But most of them are actually short of words from those that we have spoken with. They are short of words, and the expectation, even as shocked as they are, the expectation is that at the end of it all, it is better to do it right and get it right, rather than rush in line with the INEC's excuse for this postponement. So their main cause is that they have election they can call DS. They can have leaders they can call DS. The leaders that we put into offices by their vote, by the power of their vote. That is what they want. Right now, I have one of them here who will speak with me. Who also share his thoughts about this postponement. Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, so tell me about your experience as far as this is concerned. This postponement is concerned. Tell me your name and tell me what your reaction is.
Actually, I'm Garba Sadiq. I live in Jigawa State, here, the capital. I think the postponement of this election, I believe INEC have a strong reason for doing that in order to avoid the technicality and agitation by the contendant party. So I believe INEC have a very strong reason for doing that. And if it will bring a very nice, if it will bring a very good conclusion to the election so that it will be accepted by all parties without any agitation, then I believe it's okay. At least it's just a week time. So it's okay, I believe that.
Okay, so how ready are you for this election?
I'm very ready. My PVC is with me there. Even right now, if they tell me to go and vote now, I can do that. It's inside my bag, so I
don't
have
trust in this system that everything will work out fine.
Yeah, very, very sure. Because the way the INEC and MANA is being conducted, I think INEC have a very good reason so that they will avoid all this long litigation. Because the way we see the election is quite nice and it has gone very okay. But later on, due to this BVAS extension of the result sheet, I think that's where the point of contention is. So if INEC will hold on and to make sure that those technicalities has been avoided and is being corrected, then it's okay by Nigerians, I think.
Thank you so very much for the time. Yeah, thank you, sir. So you have heard from one of the residents here. He said he's ready to cast his ballot. He's also reasoning along with INEC that it is better to have a smooth sail rather than do a wishy-washy work that will lead to several litigations. That is what we have here. We're still going around feeling the pulse of the people to know what their perception is as far as this election postponement is concerned. So we will also keep you posted. I have so that is what we have as we speak now.
All right, Jokia Desaf and Jigawa, thank you for bringing us up to speed with reactions with regards to the postponement of the governorship and State House of Assembly election. Let's get back to our Abuja studio, where we have our guest, the former Commissioner for Information, Edo State, and a political analyst, Kasim Afegbua. Now, Kasim, when the president-elect, talking about Asiwaju Tinubu, collected his certificate of return, when he received it, he made a speech where he said that his heart and doors are open to everyone who is aggrieved, and he wants everyone to come together, let them work for the moving forward of the country. He also, and his party, has now joined in the suit. But what does that statement say of the person of Asiwaju, saying his heart and doors are open to those who are aggrieved with the outcome of the election?
Well, the point is, as a president-elect who will eventually become president of the country, you need the buy-in of everybody, every Nigerian, because he's not going to be president of the APC. He's going to be president of both APC, PDP, Labour Party, NNPP, and all the other 18 political parties, including those who are not members of political parties, those who are not voters. He's going to be representing the over 200 million Nigerians. So he needs everybody to be on board. And, you know, rather than Peter Obi, Atiku to be laying claim to the victory of the 2023 February 25th election, they should be worried that the outcome is quite a poor one. About 25% attendance at the elections. That means there is some kind of voter apathy. And if we follow the hypocrisy of Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar now, with endorsing the Senate election and all that, only criticizing the presidential election, then there's a likelihood that in future times, people will not come out to vote. We should be worried about why are more people not coming out to vote. 87 million Nigerians collected their PVC. Just within the realm of 23 million voted in this election, maybe around 22 million. And so we should be asking questions. That's a greater responsibility for political parties, for INEC, to carry out civic education, to carry out voters' education. And so rather than detain yourself in the make-believe that, oh, you won this election like the two persons are wont to claim, I would rather think that they should extend hand of fellowship, since Tinubu had called on them, to Asiwaju Bola Tinubu and see how we can tap into some of the ideas in the process of governing the country. Tinubu is a man who, I believe, may even want to come up with government of national unity. Tap into the resource and the potentials of some persons in other parties who have some very beautiful and lofty ideas to help drive the country. All we are saying, all that we are concerned about, is how we are able to generate ideas, generate policies that will have well-meaning impact on the entire citizenry without necessarily digging into issues of ethnicity, religion, and what have you. So, Bola Tinubu, in his acceptance speech, has opened his arms, stretched out his hands to embrace other contestants. That is the beauty. You see, in the last World Cup, Saudi Arabia beat Argentina. We thought it was end of the road for Argentina. Argentina went to win the World Cup, and they went to with the cup. So, if Peter Obi is expecting that he would win in the law courts and all of that, by the time he loses out, if he now congratulates Tinubu, it will be too late. So I will expect that now he should not join the fray with an Atiku Abubakar who is 78 years old, who has gotten to the end of his political career, because the next experiment he will be 82 years. But he may want to contest, so you won't be surprised. He may want to contest because he's used to contesting since 1990. But I think this should be about the end of the road for him. So Peter obviously has opportunity to present himself for election if he's able to manage his loss in a more holistic manner, taking into account the interests of the country at heart, and not necessarily being detained by his own entitlement, sense of entitlement, oh, I'm supposed to win this election. No, I've told you, he must change his approach, he must change his style, he must reach out to every Nigerian, he must see every Nigerian. Going to run churches and campaigning at that period, it was like trying to use the Christian population against the Muslim population and all of that. That was not good for our democracy. And I'm happy that at the end of the day, a Muslim ticket won the election. Because it is not going to be about Muslim ticket victory. It's about all Nigerians. Whatever policies that Tinubu and Shetima is able to come up with will have impact on both Christians and Muslims, pagans, atheists, and all categories of persons. So all those who are being myopic, parochial in their assessment to say that, oh, religion, Muslim ticket will not agree, will not do this. They are just digging into the cesspit of our divisions, instead of promoting unity of purpose and see how we can move the country forward. So politics is about governance. It's about you and me. It's not about your belief system. I keep telling people there are two parallel lines. Religion talks about the hereafter. What is your conduct on earth? That when you are faced with God, you tell God, this is what I did. Because everything about religion, when you go to church, you go to mosque, they are preaching that if you want to make paradise, Al-Jannah, this is what you should do. But the reward for politics is here on earth. How you are able to make society better for the ordinary person so that poverty can be reduced, unemployment can be reduced, infrastructure can be rebuilt, and all categories of responsibilities that the leader will be faced with. So for me, I'm celebrating the victory of Asiwaju Tinubu. In fact, I declare 1 week break for my staff in the office. I told them to go home and they will enjoy bonus for that purpose, because I believe that Tinubu, you cannot detain him, say he's a Southwest person. No, he got a lot of votes from the North through the APC governors. That is kudos to him. He got a lot of votes from the North Central. Both Christians and Muslims in the North Central. That's kudos to him. And he got a lot of votes from that. In fact, he was even beaten in his own Lagos state. So he couldn't have been anybody to win this election other than Bola Tinubu. So I'm happy. I'll keep celebrating, and I'm looking forward to a robust leadership of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Those who said he was ill, he was sick, he was that, he was this, they saw him when he was delivering his acceptance speech. His voice was loud enough, he displayed leadership potential, he displayed an understanding of the issues. That is the kind of leader I want to see in this post-Buhari era.
All right. Well, happy days for your staff, I must say. Now, let's talk about, you mentioned briefly his acceptance speech, Asiwaju's acceptance speech. When he made that speech, much of the speech touched education, where he said that no more strikes. He said over 4 years for universities. And he also talked about the fact that he made reference to the autonomy of universities. And one of the critical things he talked about was the issue of credit and education loans for students. If you consider this, it gives a picture of what he might like to do or what he likes to see in the reforms in education. How do you think this is going to change the education landscape, especially when they said that education is the bedrock of any development of any country?
Yes, thank you very much for this question. You see, you'll be surprised that in all the months that ASU went on strike, I can't remember the president of the country, President Muhammadu Buhari, sit down with them on a round table to look at the issues. He was sending his lieutenants, Chris Ngigi, Festus Keyamo, and the Minister for Education, who is the worst Minister for Education Nigeria has ever produced. Very taciturn, withdrawn, arrogant, on a subject matter that has to do with the future of this country, education. very key, very critical. Go and look at the Academy of Science of other countries. They drive the wheel of progress in turning out inventions that will help, to provide solutions to problems that are nagging them. But over here, you see a minister, he was telling the students that they are being rude to him. He stood up and walked away. Such kind of magisterial arrogance, which is peculiar with people who think that we should celebrate, we should worship them because they are presiding over our collective patrimony. How wrong. Now, with a Tinubu saying that he's going to introduce a 25% budget ratio, which is within the threshold of the UNESCO standard, that is good news. With him talking about loan for students, 75,000, 150,000, all of that, good news. With him saying that there will be no strike, another good news. How will he do that? Because Tinubu loves to sit down with people to interrogate issues. In all my encounters with him, I see a man who is very much at home with the issues around the country. Don't forget that when he was governor of Lagos, WAEC fees and all of that were being paid. Nobody talked about him as being a Muslim. He was paying WAEC fees for both Christians and Muslims in Lagos. And he deepened education in Lagos, built new schools and opened up, rehabilitated old ones. That is how to create a bedrock for a country that wants to see itself within the threshold of the 21st century's country. Now, it's going to be a huge challenge because he's going to be dealing with red tapeism. He's going to be dealing with those persons, those civil servants who are already used to doing things in certain ways. He needs to break certain eggs to make omelette for Nigerians. And even he's also talking about even subsidy removal. He's going to be bold to be able to take that decision. And if President Buhari was dilly-dallying over this issue of subsidy removal, you can trust a Tinubu that is going to remove it and heaven will not fall. We need to move forward. We need to be able to speak boldly to some issues, break some people's legs in the process, and make sure that the entire country is able to move. And not a few individuals who are feeding fat on our collective patrimony. Even the level of corruption in the country, from even the anti-corruption agencies are also enmeshed in corruption. So he needs to purge every of these excesses to prove bookmakers strong that actually he means well for the country. There's nothing for Tinubu to show again. Tinubu has seen it all. He has resources. He's into business. He has a legislative experience being a senator. He has an executive experience being a governor. He has a private sector experience being the former worker of ExxonMobil and all of that. So now he's becoming president. He's going to be tapping into all of these experiences. So you can't tell him anything about National Assembly and lawmaking process when he was once a senator. You can't tell him about the issue of state government and what have you when he was once a governor of a cosmopolitan state like Lagos. And so, being a president, he's only just going to be tapping into the resource of every state, exploiting and exploring their comparative advantage to be able to less dependent on oil. Everything is about oil. No, a Tinubu that I'm seeing is going to open up the economy. And is going to ensure that Nigeria is able to develop using its potentials across the socio-political divide to create the nexus that will weave up together and also make us prosperous as a nation, as a nation in Africa and the entire black race.
Right. Earlier you mentioned about how it is that he lost Lagos, and you talked about the voting pattern earlier on, and how it is that the third force, the now Labour Party as people call them, made a showing across the country. What do you think, leading up now to the governorship election, will shape the elections, the governorship elections and the state houses of assembly elections? Because there are those who are still saying, reeling out of that presidential election, there might be protest votes, and that some persons might just decide not to come out to vote at all.
You see, governing Lagos is not Tea Party. And please, whether you are blinded by party loyalty or blinded by the sentiments of your ethnic stock, please give some respect to Babatunde Sanwo-Olu. The man has worked. And every governor that has succeeded Tinubu has worked on the template created by Tinubu in terms of infrastructural development and opening up Lagos to where the gap of a contemporary modern society. And so for me, Sanwo-Olu's scorecard will give him an easy victory. I am not worried by the sentiments people are carrying about Labour and all of that. No. I need to know your antecedent. If you are a Labour Party candidate, what have you done before now? Don't tell me you have master's degree. You have that. Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
please, we need to quickly put you on hold. We need to cross over to our correspondent in Gombe, Lanre Adeyemi, to quickly bring us up to speed with reactions to the extension of the date for the governorship and State House of Assembly election. Lanre, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Right.
I can hear you clearly. Okay. Gombe, the reaction in Gombe has been pretty calm because the residents of Gombe that have spoken to this morning said that they were ready for the election on the 11th of this month, just 2 days away. Hearing overnight the election has been postponed by INEC came a little as a shock, but it's still not a problem for them. They say that whenever the elections are fixed, which now we know that's I also spoke to two leadership candidates, both of the NNPP and PDP. They said that this adjustment would affect their plans a little, but the people are so mobilized and ready to vote.
Larry, unfortunately, some technical issues, but let's get back to our Abuja studio where we have Kasim Afigwa. You were speaking with us, Kasim, on the Lagos state politics.
Yes. You see, I don't have any fears about Sanwo-Olu winning this election of governorship. Lagos is a serious business. It is the hub of Nigerian economy. And I think even in Africa, Lagos economy is ranked, is it fourth or fifth, thereabout. And so you must be able to cultivate a governor that has serious agenda to move the country, the state forward. And not starters, those who just want to prance on the rave of the moment to say, oh, if Obi can defeat Asiwaju in Lagos, then they can produce a governor. It doesn't work that way. The people are wise. The people can see. They have seen what Sanwo-Olu has done with the Blue Rail, with the BRT, with the infrastructure development in Lagos, with so many other things that he has done. I keep seeing them on TV, how they are reeling them out. I think the people understand better that, Sanwo-Olu will be better to serve his second term than voting a newcomer who has not had any experience in terms of administration, in terms of even presiding over a small village, let alone a cosmopolitan city like Lagos. So I wish Sanwo-Olu all the best. I'm praying for him. I'm not a voter in Lagos. But those of my people, family members who are there, I have told them that they should go out to vote for Sanwo-Olu. He deserves a second term. He has earned it. And it is not, I'm not going to be detained by the clamor for, we want to uproot the status quo in Lagos and all of that. No. Lagos will crumble at the feet of those young guys who are thinking that they want to preside over the state.
All right. Before we let you go, let me ask this question that doesn't really come up during political campaigns, and that is Nigeria's foreign policy. We see this feature very prominently in American and other Western countries in their presidential election. But in Nigeria, we don't talk much about foreign policy. We have seen embarrassing situation where Nigerian embassies or consulates in some countries of the world, some are folding up, others cannot keep up with daily administration and things like that. And when it comes to the green passport, a lot of people still have so much disrespect for the green passport. What should begin to change? What do you see in the next dispensation, how the Nigerian foreign policy has to be rejigged in such a way that Nigeria begins to garner that kind of respect that it used to have?
You see, that's why you need a Tinubu who understands diplomacy and the need for, opening up, embassies and sustaining them for the good of Nigerians who reside in those countries. Nigerian foreign policy has been the same. It's purely Afrocentric. That's what they will say. But even within the African continent, you don't see us playing the big brother role that we ought to play. In the military era, I think we play more foreign policy, advocacy, involvement, participation than even the democratic era we find ourselves. It may be a function of those who are appointed to manage our foreign policy portfolio or a clear ignorance of what our expectations should be. In this present dispensation, we saw an Abike Dabiri's NIDCOM doing more work than even the Ministry for Foreign Policy. When there are xenophobia issues, when there are issues of Nigerians being maltreated in Italy and other places, you see Abike Dabiri rising up to the occasion more than the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And so, there's so much to do. Under the military, you had ECOMOG. We took over the entire West Africa, restored democracy in Liberia, restored democracy in Sierra Leone and some other countries. We fought in the Republic of Congo and all of that. Nigerians were respected. In fact, the fear of Nigeria was the beginning of wisdom, but it's no longer the same under a democracy because there is no deliberate and conscious effort by succeeding governments or successive government to interrogate the issues and take a position that will put us in that pedestal of leadership. So you see President Buhari traveling across the countries of the world, but what does he bring back home? It's a matter of sitting down to interrogate what our foreign policy should be. If you say it is Afrocentric, how do you define it? How do you relate with other countries? How do you come up with policies and programs that will make it, more attractive, more robust, so that people will also respect us? It is not all about drugs in this country. There are Nigerians who are doing so much across the divide. There are Nigerians who are making waves all over the world. What does government do to even encourage them? What does government do to even bring them back home and say, let us even tap from your intellect and knowledge of this particular idea that can help us to drive the same idea back home here? These things have to be deliberate, they have to be conscious. So that's why I said a Bola Tinubu, who is very exposed, who lived in America for a long time, who worked with a multinational called ExxonMobil, who's been a senator, who's been a governor, who exactly know the place of Nigeria in the affairs of the world.
Right. Kasima Fegwa, former Commissioner for Information, Edo State, and a political analyst. Thank you for your time on the program.